Well, with us now, Gidi is a former peace negotiator under the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and he's the author of Insight, Peacemaking in the Oslo Process, 30 Years and Counting. Gidi, welcome to the programme. Thank you for joining us. We have been here before, haven't we? Multiple reports about a deal, about being on the brink of a deal, which then falls apart. Is that the case this time, or do you see something different here?
I think that there is a growing pressure for a deal. We have to understand that the government of Israel took three major decisions that put it in a very serious conundrum. Number one, release of all prisoners. Number two, 5 conditions for ending the war. And number three, a decision to send the military into Gaza. These are decisions that are forcing discussion of very big issues that the government of Israel is very uncomfortable discussing. For example, what will be the future borders of Gaza? What will be the connection between Gaza and the West Bank? Introducing an Arab force that will come into Gaza forces the discussion on Palestinian statehood, or at least a political horizon of a Palestinian statehood. So for these reasons and many others, effectively, the decisions of the government forced it into discussing issues that are very uncomfortable for it, which is why now we're seeing the pivot back to a partial deal in which some of the hostages will be released dead or alive, others will remain in Gaza, and a 60-day ceasefire within which the Israeli military will realign within Gaza. There'll be more aid, and Hamas will effectively be allowed to expand back its control of Gaza.
Well,
we have to
just on that, I mean, the Prime Minister has said that he will only accept a deal to release all of the hostages. He did say that in an interview last week.
You're right, but the Prime Minister is saying a number of conflicting things. The Prime Minister said no to partial deals. The Prime Minister said that he wants to go into Gaza, but there are extreme concerns about the ability to win the war when you go into Gaza, to bring back the hostages, to not be entangled in Gaza for long-term control of Gaza, which the entire world will see as a brutal occupation, option number 2. And option number 3 is basically a comprehensive deal that requires a kind of political concessions that the government is not willing to make.
All right, but isn't the threat to go into Gaza City, which the Prime Minister has made, isn't that what has brought Hamas back to the table and what has apparently made it drop some of its demands? For example, the number of security prisoners that it's calling to be released, for other demands regarding the buffer zone. Is that not a result of the credible threat by the IDF to take Gaza City?
Perhaps. Of course, Hamas is concerned and Israel is concerned. Israel needs also to choose between a number of imperfect options. But at the same time, I'm not seeing strategic compromises by Hamas. For example, we knew that Israel will have to realign within Gaza. So now we're talking about perhaps a larger part of Gaza that will remain in Israel's hands for the duration of the ceasefire. But still, there's no compromise on Hamas with regard to the full withdrawal of Israel from Gaza in the context of ending the war and the full release of the hostages. The other thing is that Hamas right now is not talking about removing of Hamas of Gaza. That's not happening at the beginning of the deal. It may happen at the end of the ceasefire, but it's not happening right now.
Right, that is that is an important point, isn't it? Whether or not Hamas will disarm. Of course, it hasn't agreed to disarm, but it has made noises that it would be willing to concede to some other kind of Palestinian leadership in Gaza. Do you think that the fact that the whole of the Arab League is now calling on Hamas to disarm makes that a bit more likely?
I think that Israel has a tremendous opportunity to remove Hamas. We've discussed this in the past on your program. There are 4 elements that are required in order to remove Hamas. Number 1, the entire social infrastructure has to be replaced. Healthcare, welfare, education be provided by someone else. That someone else can only be the Palestinian Authority or some sort of a self-governing Palestinian body which is sanctioned by the Palestinian Authority. The economic arm of Hamas has to be cut off, and that can't be done at the moment taxation is not in the heads of Hamas and the borders. Third is the military capabilities of Hamas, which have been decimated. And the fourth element is the political participation of Hamas in the Palestinian political system, which here again, I want to remind the audience, there is a provision in the Oslo Accords that prevents that from happening. So the 4 components of removing Hamas are within reach. But here is the big paradox in the positions of the government of Israel. No Hamas and no Palestinian Authority. Then who? Who is responsible for Gaza? Who will invite the Arab force to deploy into Gaza? This is a position that is so internally contradicting that effectively it blocks any prospect of moving toward ending the war and achieving the other goals that the government of Israel have established.
Okay, Gidi, thanks very much indeed. Great to talk to you. Gidi Grinstein there.
Thank you very much for having me.